Hey fam, so if you watched my last video, you should be aware that I'm in Mexico. While I was in Mexico, I was exploring Airbnb, and while I was scrolling, I ran into this listing, and when I saw it, I was like, wait, is this real? And it is an ecological village. And I was shocked when I saw it. I was like, wow, this looks very beautiful, very interesting concept that I haven't seen yet. So I had to book a night here and just explore it. So I booked initially 2 nights, and now I'm staying, I think 5 nights so far. Yeah, I've stayed 5 nights so far. And honestly, if it was up to me, I don't want to go back. I would stay here. And I wanted to introduce Rodrigo, which is the founder of this place. He built this place 3 years ago, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And I asked him to do an interview with me, and he graciously accepted, which I appreciate from you. Rodrigo, how about you start off by maybe introducing yourself a little bit?
I'm from Morelia, from the place we are now. And I went to live out for many, many years. I spent some time in Mexico City, a lot of years in Mexico City. Then I moved to live to Madrid in Spain. I spent there 3 years as well. Right before I came back to live in Morelia, come back to my hometown, I actually suffered from a brain stroke. And it was one of the best experiences in my life.
Wow.
I have to tell you this because it came to my mind when you were saying this, because of accomplishing things and not giving up. I was left on a wheelchair after the brain stroke, and doctors said that probably I wouldn't be able to walk again and get my life back again. And that was never an option for me. But never. I mean, it was like,
you're gonna make it.
Watch me. I mean, I'm not gonna stay in a wheelchair forever. I mean, whatever happens, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna continue my life. I mean, never happened, like, crossed my mind. Why me? You know what I mean? Incredible. I mean, not at all. Let's do whatever we have to do.
Yeah.
And let's keep going with our lives. So I just mentioned this because it's not only that if you have a dream, you can accomplish it. Also, if you have some issues, some difficulties, or some setbacks, or some strokes in your life.
Yeah.
You have to get up, and you just have to keep walking.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. Like, I mean, you could have easily just sat there and been like, oh, the doctor said I'll never walk again, I'll never recover.
Please help me, somebody do the things for me or maintain me.
No, you proved that, you can do it. I mean, that is even more inspiring hearing that, because I didn't even know this, so that's very inspiring. And I appreciate you for sharing that. And for anybody who thinks that life is kicking you down, life sometimes is very difficult. Sometimes situations are just so unpredictable. But the most important part is we get up and we don't let that knock us down, because every time we get up, we're gonna get stronger. We're gonna do more. You've inspired me, and I hope you're gonna inspire all these viewers. That is an amazing story, my man. Like, it's inspiring. Like,
it's important. What you just said right now is like, if you manage to get up, you will get up stronger, wiser, and happier than you were, and more confident.
You can appreciate life too. Like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I bet you appreciate. The same way for me, I've had some situations not as serious as what you've had, but I've had life knock me down in the past 2 years, 3 years. But every time I get up and I get through that hurdle, I appreciate life more. I love life more. I'm a happier person.
And you're even thankful for what you went through, for the struggle, because it made you the person you are now.
Exactly.
And so you thank whatever is up there.
Yeah.
And keep smiling and walking and pushing forward.
Absolutely. And tell us about the Ecovillage. What inspired you to start it?
The thing that inspired this place is that I was looking for a house for myself. I don't build houses. I'm not an architect. I'm not an engineer. Everybody comes to this place is like, oh, so you're an architect, and I'm like, no, I'm actually a filmmaker.
Wow, you're a filmmaker.
I write and direct films, independent films. And then when I came back to live to Morelia, I wanted to have a house for myself. And I faced the problem that I think many people in the world are facing now, which is that you can't buy a house. I mean, especially our generations. Exactly. I mean, for our parents and for our grandparents, it was like the traditional way to do things. You know, you get married, get a house, a couple of cars, you have your family. Shazam, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what's going on now. I mean, with our generations, it's very, very difficult to get a house for many reasons. Of course, because of the prices are like in the clouds. High. I mean, very high. It's almost impossible to get it.
Even here in Mexico, I assume.
Also here in Mexico, I mean, if you go to San Francisco, Nueva York, I mean, it's like out of the table, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But here in Mexico, it's happening the same thing. Unfortunately, we also copy the bad things. We're not just only copying the nice things from from different countries. So I faced that problem, but it was very clear for me that I wasn't the only one facing that problem. A lot of my friends in other cities, in other countries were having the same problem, here in Morelia as well. When I started like spreading the word a little bit about the project I had in mind, because I wanted everything. I wanted to be affordable.
Yes.
I wanted to be designed by a great architect. And I wanted to have a lot of nature around, a lot, because I love being surrounded by nature. And I wanted to have the lower ecological impact for the environment.
Absolutely, and I can attest to that. Like, I came in here, there's a lot of natural vegetation. I think you mentioned that you had houses moved so that you would not take down a single tree. And this gives you this design as well, where like things are, they're perfect, but they're a little imperfect in the sense that like not everything's just symmetrical, not everything's just one straight line. And I think that's one thing that I noticed here. It's so ecologically friendly. Like you have solar panels on the roof.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll see footage of that. You have the water heater comes from solar, like
from sun as well. And we made the commitment to not to tear down a single tree for building the 10 houses. We are in a pine tree zone, and that's what we love in the first place. If we came here because of nature, why would we change it? So our main goal was not tearing down a single tree. I mean, usually a house builder gets the land, he just designed the project in his office and then goes and tears down everything, puts the land flat, and then he can easily put every house he wants, and he tried to sell as much as meters he can, because that's their main goal. This wasn't our main goal. Our main goal was to prove the concept and to be able to fix the problem that I was personally facing, but I realized that many people were facing too. Friends of mine, cousins of my family, So the first rule for the construction was like not tearing a single tree. And that's why you see that there's no symmetry in between the houses, but that's also because you feel like you are out of the town and you've seen it. You're like 2 or 3 minutes from the urbanization and from the malls and shoppings and things. Yeah,
it's very close. Like I walked at night towards the shops here, and I was able to walk. Everything was nearby, like the convenience store, OXXO. For those in the U.S., it's like a convenience store similar to 7-Eleven. I was able to walk there. There's food nearby. The mall is only like 5-10 minutes by car away. So everything's close, but you don't feel like you're in the city. That was kind of the best part. Like I felt like I escaped the city even though I'm still in it.
The environment feels like you left the city, but you are 5 or 10 minutes away from the city, and only 50 minutes or 20 minutes from downtown. So we wanted to have that mix where you are away, you are peaceful, you are in your mood, you are working if you like.
Right.
You are close to the city because you have to go sometimes to the city. I mean, every time we are less connected to urban kind of living. Because of, after the pandemic, we all know that we can work from our houses and you're not that tied to the office and to the buildings and to the urbanizations and downtowns. So this project started in my head like long before the pandemics. It wasn't that the motivation, just to be clear.
But the pandemic definitely
fitted
the concept
the concept very well. It was like just proving that it was the natural tendency. So I wanted to have like a house that I could actually afford. We hired an architect, a very good designer, an architect who is also an artist. He's a painter, and I think that's very important. I tried to do this project with at least 4 architects before him, and nobody was able to do it.
Nobody can think that out of the box.
Exactly, that's the question. They weren't able to go out of the box to create this thing because they make like the same structure that we see in the housing developments that we have been conventional have been seeing for the last 100 years. They just made it a little smarter, but close next to the other one. That's another of the genius things I think the architect made here, that none of the houses are touching any other house. If you live in an apartment building, you are sharing walls with the people and you listen to everyone. And this one, it's very funny because when we started the project, we wanted to have like small houses, but independent small houses. Like traditional builders used to laugh at me when I talked to them about this project, because I told them like, I'm going to build 10 houses in a land of 1,000 square meters. It's 1,000 square meters, and I'm gonna install 10 houses, and I was like, haha, little kid.
Yeah, you're crazy to think that.
You're crazy to think you're not gonna make it. And I was like, okay, hold my beer, because I think it's possible, because the whole concept was to optimizing spaces.
Right.
I mean, the houses where our parents grew up, it was like huge land, and 5 or 6 cars can fit in, and, you know, and 6 rooms, and it was different kind of families. Families are changing and evolving too.
Right.
So I have no idea why housing industry is not evolving with families. I mean, people are getting married less, and if they get married, people are having a lot less kids. So why not to make this new structure of houses that have just what we need, nothing you don't need, but also not missing anything.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, I'll say like staying here, I felt like I'm not missing anything. It's been perfect. There isn't actually like a natural AC system in the house, but the way the house is structured, so there's windows on 2 sides, and you're able to open both windows, and even when it's really hot, you're able to get a cool breeze flowing, and it doesn't feel very, very hot, and it's very eco-friendly. If I wanted to live here, I would have no heating cost. So far, everything that I've needed has been either in close proximity or here in the property, and I've been staying here like not wanting to leave actually because of how much I enjoy the space.
So nice. Welcome anytime you want.
Thank you. And another thing I wanted to mention, when you said 1,000 meters, it does not feel like 1,000 square meters. It feels larger than that. I could not believe that it was 1,000 square meters when you just said that.
And it's funny because they, as I was mentioning, they couldn't believe I could install 10 houses in 1,000 meters. We not only just created 10 houses in 1,000 meters square land, but we also reserved more than half of the land for green areas. As you can see, all the gardens here, which have a lot of plants and herbs for consuming for the neighbors. We weren't able to install 10 houses, but also allowing a lot of nature and green land in between houses, so you don't feel like in a tight place and you're right next to your neighbor, you know?
It definitely feels spread out, and I'll say like I feel privacy, so like when I'm going up and down the stairs, or like if I drop something, I don't feel like I'm disturbing anybody. I feel like I have that privacy, and I haven't heard any of the neighbors since I've been staying here, like nothing at all. Like it's very quiet, very peaceful, and that's something that I did notice.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I was a little afraid when we were starting the project, because I could see the plans for the 10 houses, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so super tight. I mean, and I actually came here when it was just a white land and raw land, and I came with a tape, and I marked the space of the house to see if I was able to.
Yeah, it would probably look a lot smaller than it actually feels.
It was, and I was even more worried than countdown, you know, and because the houses, that's another funny thing that traditional builders used to also not believe to me, or not believe in the project. It's that the houses are built in only 20 square meters. I mean,
it doesn't feel that way. You utilized light so well. On the east and the west side, you have 2 adjacent windows on all the floors going up, and there's 3 floors in each building. So it makes it feel a lot larger, the space, because you have all this natural light coming in and gives you that sense of space. 3 floors plus the roof garden, which makes them 4 floors, which gives you actually a lot of space in a very small footprint, you know? Right. It's like, that would be 80 meters square.
80, you know, 60 built, but 80 with the roof, you know? And as you were saying, the openness that you get with the crystals and you like your nature surrounded by all of your sites, so that makes it feel like a lot more bigger than it is. When we started with the idea, I mean, as I was mentioning, I wanted to have a house, so I pictured in my head how I wanted to have the house, and suddenly there was a lot of people wanting to have a house like this, affordable, sustainable, and designed by a great architect. So I talked to my brother. He's one of my best friends and he's my partner. And I told him I want to buy a house and I can't buy a house. I was frustrated, and I told him about the idea of making an eco-village and this place where you could actually get a house. And he told me it's a fantastic idea, let's do it. And another friend of mine, we asked him if he wanted to be part of the whole project. He's from Morelia, Ahmed. And we partnered with him because he have a lot of experience in creating companies, and he's very social and he's like very entrepreneur. So I'm very thankful with him because the minute we talk about the project, he was like, let's do this, we have to do this because there's a lot of people wanting this kind of houses. So we started looking for everyone in like taking part in the process. We hired an an amazing architect's studio.
Okay.
And they are not here from Morelia, they are actually from Cuernavaca, but they have an amazing portfolio of architecture. He actually studied with my brother in the university. He got the idea like very quick, and he started making proposals that were exactly what we wanted. Because as I was mentioning, we tried to do this with 3 different architects, and he was the one who could do it. And then we saw that there was a lot of people, and friends started asking, and then suddenly it was not just my house, it was 2 houses, then 3 houses, then 5 houses, and then we saw that there was a huge market. Mm-hmm. So we started looking for the land because we wanted nature, a lot of nature surrounded, but we didn't want it to be like far away from the city because we all have to go to the city.
Right.
So we found this land after a lot of time looking for it. There's a lot of pine trees. You feel surrounded by animals, but by pure nature, and I love it. But we also wanted to lower the environmental impact in the houses, so that you were mentioning. They are completely solar powered, and also not building a lot of concrete and not putting a lot of construction in the land makes them a lot more sustainable. That was pretty much how it started the whole project, and we're very, very happy because it was kind of like an experiment. As I was mentioning, I was a little worried that this would work because I couldn't have any reference. I spent very long time, a lot of days in the internet, like looking for Ecovillage and small houses in Mexico, in Morelia. Even going out in other countries, it was difficult to find places like this as a reference, because I wanted to tell people who wanted to buy it, I wanted to have something like, okay, it's a little bit like this, but there was nothing like this.
No example of this.
No examples, which now makes it beautiful that we have this one built, because we want to do, as I was mentioning to you, we want to do 100 or 900 places like this, because we want to give a lot of people, and as much people as we can, the possibility to buy a house like this, because it's, again, affordable, sustainable, and nature surrounded, because a lot of people is looking for that.
And one thing about affordability there, when I was first meeting you, you mentioned that you sold these houses for a very reasonable price. How much did you sell them for?
That was one of our main goals too. That's a great thing that you mentioned it, because I wasn't able to afford a house, so that was the main goal. And at a very early stage in the process, when this was not even built, the people who got really clever and trusted us without the project even being built and in pre-sales, they were able to buy a house for $50,000.
$50,000.
A full house, you know? And we are in an area that it's like very, very commercial. Not this place that is nature surrounded, but as you were mentioning before, there's a lot of commerce around and things like that.
Malls, and I saw big towers nearby,
malls
like
and hospitals and universities, and it's like a very expensive area. We just take a foot away from the expensive area in this nature sanctuary. So the land was a little cheaper, but also much more beautiful. Yeah,
I mean, that's what you want anyways. That's kind of the target there, is to build this. It's still close enough where like you can still drive, you can still walk, you can...
Close enough, but away enough, right?
Yep. Yeah, away enough where it would be, I assume, affordable, and as well, more natural. Like, I think I saw a field right to the right of the...
Yeah, football field right here.
There's a football field that has cows in it. I saw sheep in it. Like, you're actually seeing these live animals, and then there's roosters nearby. It's crazy the experience, because like, I still can't believe I'm in the city, but I am in the city, and I have a mall really close for whatever I need. So like, that is amazing.
And it's really funny because developers around here, they make traditional houses. And these traditional houses over here are very expensive because they are big. And they are in a very commercial area. So when we set the prices for this place, these commercial developers were very angry at us, because this is a very funny formula. We were the highest price square meter cost, but the cheaper house in the area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You maximize the value per square meter.
Because of the optimization of the spaces, and because it's a small house. I mean, nobody in the market that making houses for people who want to live alone or as a couple.
Right, absolutely.
They are making traditional houses that we've been seeing for 100 years for the family, at least of 4 or 5 members.
Right.
So, and there's a lot of people now. Families are evolving a lot. Smaller families. People are waiting a lot to get married if they got married. Right. And if they got married, they are waiting a lot to have children if they have children. So families are getting a lot smaller, families are evolving, but the housing market is not evolving with the families, you know.
Absolutely.
And they are making houses for the family. It's like nonsense. So I was like, I really can't believe nobody's making houses for this market. I mean, and I can see it's a growing market, and it's really big now. I mean, there's a lot of people who live alone or who live in couples,
Absolutely.
you know. And the developers are not making. I mean, it's even like weird because they usually are very clever to make money.
I mean, yeah. When you're trying to make money, you want to go to where the money
You
is.
have to see where the targets and the market is. And for me and my brother and for my partner Ahmed, we were like, we really can't believe nobody's doing the project we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So now we're starting. And thanks to the success, we received 1,000 applications for 10 houses.
Wow, 1,000 applicants.
1,000 applicants, and I personally met each one of the applicants because as you can see, it's a very intimate place. I mean, it's a very close community,
I mean, and you can see everybody in
so
there.
another important thing for us is not only to have a beautiful place and a lot of nature, but also to have the correct community. I mean, the right community, because it's worthless that you have a beautiful place that everybody hate each other, you know, because you couldn't live here,
or people don't want to like maintain a beautiful place or like live the lifestyle.
They don't share the values, they don't love nature as we do. So I personally sit it down as we are sitting that right here with every single one of the applicants, because I wanted to have like, at least in this one that was our pilot, I wanted to have like the perfect community, and I can say proudly that we managed to do it because I love my neighbors.
That's amazing.
And we are like work together in some projects because now we share common values, and we grow some food in the common area here. So I'm really happy with the results of the project. And we are starting building the 002 Ecovillage.
Awesome. I wanted to be an applicant, but I think you're saying that I might not be able to get a chance, but I might get a chance. We'll see. I'm going to talk to Rodrigo and try to convince him to give me an opportunity there, because I'm personally interested, not only from a living perspective, also from a business perspective as well. So as you can see, I'm renting the space as an Airbnb, and I was talking to Rodrigo before we actually sat down for our interview. And I was asking him a few questions about it as a business. Just how is the Airbnb aspect and how is the business in general? Like, one, there's 1,000 applicants for 10 houses. So that tells you the business demand is there. There's a huge demand for this market. And then there's the other aspect of it being an Airbnb. And I think you mentioned you have a very good occupancy rate.
Absolutely, yeah, it's full most of the time. I mean, I wasn't expecting that much success in the Airbnb business. I started like trying it like a test because I wanted to try that side of the business. I mean, of course, the houses were sold out, so that's tested, right?
Yeah, that's already been settled,
right? So I wanted to learn about the Airbnb market and to the rental market. So I'm testing the product in their different areas, and I'm happily shocked about how successful it is in Airbnb, because as I was mentioning, we are not even in downtown, where you usually in Airbnb you go to a city, you want to explore downtown, you know, the historical place. So you usually, or at least me, I usually go to the downtown options, you know. And this one is like 15 or 20 minutes away from downtown. I mean, it's another concept because your nature's surrounded, you know.
More of ecotourism.
Ecotourism. But I was positively shocked about the Airbnb market, and that's why also I'm very positive about the new project, because I now have live showroom. You know, when I was selling this one, I was like, no, but they're pretty, but they're small, but they're Ecovillage. But I had to like make everything in the story.
Yeah, you have to get people to believe in the vision.
To believe in the vision, but only by my sayings, you know, because I wasn't able to show references. And now it's super simple. I mean, people come here and they're like, where can I write the check? The check because I want to buy the house in your next project. It's super simple for me. This is literally a living showroom.
It sells itself. I mean, I came here and I was like, I want one of these properties for myself because it's so beautiful, but also like just from a business perspective, even just the fact that it's so beautiful. Like, I think if I bought one of your properties, I would never sell it. I would keep it for like a very long time until maybe I have my own kids and might need to outgrow it. Even then, like, I think this is amazing, and I see the like long-term sustainability of such a place. Like, I assume like your bills are low. You don't have like, because you have electricity coming from solar. The heating is amazing. Actually, best Airbnb water heating system I've had in Mexico so far. The water is hot when you need it, at least from my perspective. Nice. So that was amazing. But yeah, this whole experience, like the place is amazing, and I'm sure as you're watching this, there's going to be a lot of footage that's showcasing how beautiful the space is. I hope to come back. Actually, I was talking to Rodrigo about staying here for a month after in around the summertime. But I'm hoping to come back for a month at least to just enjoy this space because it's giving me so much creativity. It's so beautiful. It's very quiet. Like it's an amazing space.
That's what I was also sharing with you. The space where my studio is, which is the middle floor. It's probably the reason I built the 10 houses and the whole village, because I wanted to have this place where I could be away from everything and from everyone, because I wanted to have concentration and inspiration from nature, and I wanted to write my scripts, and I wanted to continue to creating this kind of, because I'm in the film industry, but I want to have as much people as possible to be able to buy their own houses. I mean, I fixed that for myself with this house. Yeah. But I want to fix it for a lot of people. I have this house that it's actually being paid by the people who's traveling. You're actually, I'm sorry to say that you are actually. I am not complaining. I am not complaining. You're actually paying for my house. I mean, you are contributing so I can have this house because it's also working for me, the house. So I invite people in my next projects, not only to be able to buy a house for themselves, but to be able to create your own wealth, your own prosperity. I mean, because again, we are in a different generation, and our parents used to have like their retirements and their, we're no longer can count on that. Absolutely. So I want to have at least 3 or 4 houses, and I want to live in one, and the other ones pay the bills, Yeah, no, I mean, I want to say Rodrigo here is living where my YouTube channel wants to go. He has this passive income coming in from this. He is a very inspirational person so far from just talking to him, and we even talked about books, and he was mentioning a few books, and I was talking about the book that I'm currently reading. No, a very, very inspiring person, actually models a lot of what I read in Poor Dad, Rich Dad. If you have not read it, great book. Yeah, no, I think you mentioned it's on the 3rd on your list to read. I highly recommend you read it because you are doing some of the stuff that is mentioned in this book. You're thinking outside the box in terms of where you want to take this. And also, like, it's inspirational because as a filmmaker, right? You're a filmmaker. You're not a house builder. You're building houses. You're making your dream come true. And this is part of what I want from my YouTube viewers to see. Like, if you have a dream of yours or something that you want to accomplish, don't let people tell you, oh, you are a filmmaker, you can't build these houses, or you are such and such and you cannot start your business. And like even me, right, when I was starting my business, people were telling me, oh, you can't do it, or some family members didn't really believe in me, they were terrified, they were like, oh, you're quitting a really good job to just start your own business. But sometimes you just have to get out of that comfort zone and just push yourself to just go out of there, like just do it. And you've successfully done it here, and hopefully, and I think you mentioned you want to build 999 of these villages across Mexico, and maybe the world, maybe the world, take this worldwide. And that's inspirational, and that's something that I'm glad that I was able to get you, because you're a living example that you can think outside the box. You can go and you can actually make something even when people don't believe in you. You just have to believe in yourself, and you need at least that one person, like your brother you mentioned, believed in you. And both of you together started this partnership, and you built this amazing place, and you're gonna make 999 of these, and hopefully more. I hope you get to even more than that, because I believe you will. We actually tagged the project. It's called, in Spanish, it's called Ecovillage, which means Ecovillage, and we brand it like Ecovillage 001. Yeah. And that was the main goal, because I want to tell the world that we are making a lot of these places, because I want people to stop living in traditional cottages, because they are harmful to the planet, harmful to your wallet, and harmful to the aesthetical world, because they are ugly, they are expensive, and they are not friendly at all with the environment. So we want to change that way to do things, and it's very interesting what you were mentioning right now of believing in yourself and not just staying in your comfort zone. Not just comfort zone, which also I agree, but in your box of your duty. Because as you were mentioning, what I love to do is films. Films are hard to do. They are expensive, and you don't make a lot of money of that. At least not at the beginning. Probably when you're very famous, you do a lot of money, but not now. I also like living the good lifestyle. I mean, I love traveling. I love having a house. I love having a nice car. I love going to a restaurant and being able to visit my friends. I mean, I didn't want to sacrifice my lifestyle just because of my passion, which is being a filmmaker. I'm gonna do it. I love making films, and I'm working on two films right now, a documentary film and a fiction. And but I wanted to have a company, running a running business, which I also loved. I mean,
yeah, and it's producing income for you.
And it's producing income, but it's something that I'm also passionate about because I could go to get a 9 to 5 and to get the income, and I would get the income. I could get a very high salary. I know I can do that, but it wasn't the thing I was looking for because it's not something I love.
Exactly.
I don't want to be behind a desk working for another one's people's dream. Just to get the paycheck to be able to do my dream. So I think I can do both. I mean, if I want to do another thing, I will do it. We are living in a very interesting and very changing times.
Exactly.
The status quo is changing every day and huge time. I mean, technology, I mean, creativity, I mean, the industry is completely changing. Our generation grew in a completely different circumstances. I mean, our parents is like, okay, you're gonna be a lawyer and you're gonna die a lawyer. You're gonna be an engineer and you're gonna die an engineer.
Yeah.
That's part of the past now. I mean, you can do
anything you want to, right?
You want. I mean, you just have to be really passionate about it and trust yourself, because that's the hardest part of everything. Because
and sticking to it too.
Everyone around you will laugh about you when you are sharing your dreams, which you shouldn't share that much because people will put you down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to stick to it and be able to connect with you and trust yourself and go for it, because otherwise if you listen to your mom and you listen to your friends and you listen to older people than you they think they know everything.
Conventional way of doing things.
Conventional, I mean, I'm not criticizing, I'm just
of course.
mentioning.
I mean, you can criticize. I criticize conventional way because it doesn't work. It's not working anymore. I mean, the reason we're in the trouble we're in, right? High cost of living, high cost of education. Everything is because of the conventional way of thinking.
Exactly. In this stage, which is unsustainable right now.
We're polluting the environment. Absolutely. Like it's getting to a point where I want to change things so much. Like that's why I'm quitting, and that's why I'm on YouTube as well, is just to show people you can do it too. Even if you fail, you just gotta get back up and try. And that's a philosophy that I have. It's it doesn't matter how many people put you down or how many times you fail. If you truly want something, you gotta pursue it and you gotta make it a reality. And it will happen. You just have to try really hard.
I really, really love that you just mentioned what you just said, because I know it sounds trite, but it's true. I mean, I've read what you just said so many times in so many books. But when I used to read that, it was like, yes, but not for everybody. Even myself, no, yes, but not for. But now that I'm living it, I mean, it's like it is possible for everyone. It's just a mindset. You just have to be convinced,
convinced, dedicated. You gotta love what you want to do, and you gotta also just understand that you as a person can do it. Like if other people are able to do it, there is no reason why we can't. Like anybody can do what they want to do. You just have to follow your dreams and actually try. Because if you don't try, because 50% is trying. You have to, you tried to build this place. You had the land, but you didn't have the exact architecture. Three architects failed at designing the space. You stuck to it. You got the fourth one. He designed the space with an outside the box thinking. So you just have to keep trying. You could have just stopped after the first architect couldn't do it. It would have, I can't do it. This architect couldn't figure it out. But you had 4 architects.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one was the lucky charm. I mean, he's designed it, right?
There's an ancient saying that you don't have to see the whole stair to get up. You have to put your step in the first stair, and then the whole stair will appear. And it's really funny because we actually have a funny story about that. This is a three stories building, right? And they have a hole in the roof where you can go out to the to the rooftop. And the construction guy with the construction company told me how are we gonna put a hole in the roof? I mean, the water is gonna come in. I mean, everybody was super worried about that. So I told the engineer, I was let's do this. You allow me to get there. You get the stairs. Allow me to get to that hole, and I'll figure it out when I'm upstairs. I mean, I can decide it from right here. I have to get there.
You have to actually,
we will be able to fix that hole from a closer perspective.
Yeah, so, one problem at a time. You take it problem at a time.
And another thing I wanted to mention about what you were saying earlier is that yes, you can reach your dreams. Yes, you can accomplish everything, but it takes a huge amount of work. I mean,
absolutely,
it's not gonna happen from a day to night, you know?
Absolutely, Rome was not built in a day, and nothing great comes easy. Like even me on my everything I'm doing right now, like none of it's coming easy, and it takes time. Like I'm sure if you watched my last videos, right, I made $1,000 just off Fiverr alone for just last month, and that wasn't easy, right? Because like my first month I made $6 on Fiverr, and the next month it was $60. The month after that, it went from $6 to $1,000.
Yeah.
So it just shows you that you just have to work hard. You have to go through a lot, but you stick to something hard enough, and it will succeed. I mean, it's just how it works. You just have to try your best. You have to get up, and you have to keep doing it.
And you will get knocked down, but as the saying says, get knocked down 9 times, get up 10.
Yeah.
You know, because that's the way you do it. I mean,
absolutely.
People will be jealous about you. People will try to let you down. Will try to push you down. So you have to, as you were mentioning, stick to it, trust yourself, and keep going, because that's the only way to do it.
Absolutely. You are so correct on that. That's kind of like the philosophy that I also try to follow on the channel, and like the content that I'm trying to spread to people is like, follow your dreams. You followed your dream and you made it a reality, and here I am enjoying your dream. And basking in it, because I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to get out of bed. I just want to stay here. The environment is amazing. Like I think the first day I did not leave. I spent here the entire day. Unfortunately, I had to go out and run some errands, but I don't think I would have left. Like today, I haven't left today. I'm enjoying the space.
I get goosebumps just to hearing you speak, because as you just mentioned, this was only in my head one day. This was just a dream.
Yeah.
And suddenly there's 10 houses here, and there's beautiful neighbors enjoying a place, and we make gatherings, and they all congratulate me and thank me because I made their houses.
Yeah.
I mean, so for me it's like very graphic example that you can accomplish what happens in your mind.
Absolutely.
And then you can see it to make to reality.
Absolutely, you are so correct. That's why I find it inspiring. You've inspired me, and I hope you inspire a lot of these people watching, because it is so important for people to follow their dreams and just to see that you're doing it. And also, if you're interested in staying in Rodrigo's place, I have a link to the Airbnb link below. I think you're gonna have a hard time finding the space available, because I think you're gonna get very much booked in the future. and as more and more people hear about the place, it's gonna be a lot harder for people to book. But if you're interested and you're in Morelia or Michoacan area, or honestly, if you want to just go somewhere beautiful and you're looking for a vacation, this is the place to go. The link is going to be in the description below. Rodrigo's amazing. It's amazing to have a conversation with him. So friendly. From the first day I walked in, he was so welcoming. He was accommodating as well. I was late to arrive for check-in. He was accommodating, and the space is just amazing. It has everything you need. So thank you, Rodrigo. Thank you for such a great inspirational talk. I feel more inspired. So I hope you watching get more inspired by this. This is an amazing location too. Please, if you're interested, support Rodrigo and come visit this amazing place and help him spread this dream to more places, because we need more places like this. This solves a lot of issues. One, it's affordable. It can solve a lot of our housing crises worldwide. And not only does it solve that issue, it's a beautiful space that is inspiring me creatively. I already shot 4 videos here, just having conversations with myself. And if you've seen this place and you're interested, like I said, check the Airbnb link below. And yeah, show Rodrigo some love and support.
Thanks. And also, as you were mentioning, not only, of course, everybody's welcome if they want to come stay here. But the main thing for me is to be able to spread the message, to be able to tell the world that affordable housing is possible. I find it very uninspiring and depressing that people can't be able to buy a roof. To have their cave, where they can feel safe and comfortable. So that for me is heartbreaking. And I want to be able to spread this thing, not for myself, not to getting rich, but for making a lot of people be able to get a house like this. There's a lot of people already offering us land all around the country. Come to Oaxaca, come to Riviera Maya, come to Cancun, come to have an aldea in Guadalajara, which we are considering, because I want to have this all over.
And spread the concept around too. The more cities you have it in, I'm sure in Morelia you'll have some form of traction. But as well, if you have it in other places, you get to inspire more and more people all across Mexico. And hopefully I can see this in the US and other places as well that need this. Because I know there's a housing crisis in the US and maybe in the rest of South America. I'm not too familiar there. We will have visits there in the future, but definitely hope you can get this in as many places as possible, and I hope to stay in as many of these all around the world.
That would be amazing. Thank you again for the space, your time, and your energy. Thank you for staying here.
It was
glad to
great.
have you anytime you want, and of course, so you have your audience too. And thanks for the interview as well.
Thank you, Rodrigo, as well. Thank you for your time as well. I appreciate your time.